everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing some DIY room and home decor pieces with you, and hopefully they'll help you get inspired for the upcoming autumn season. And if you're not quite ready for autumn, don't worry, I think these DIYs will have you covered. I was super motivated the other day. I had on my cozy jumper, I had some candles lit, I had the pumpkins out, I ran myself a bubble bath, and then after my bubble bath, in the bath water, I found a fossilized spider corpse. So after that point, I was a little bit frustrated. I wanted autumn to go away and I really wanted summer to come back and the spiders to leave. So if you're feeling a little bit like that, hopefully these DIYs will pick up your mood and get you ready for autumn, because they make me feel a lot better too. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. First up, I'm going to show you how to make these adorable little plush pumpkins. They're super squishy, and I came up with these because it's really difficult to find pumpkin decor and autumn decor in England. We kind of just do the Halloween thing. So I was like, where am I going to get some pumpkins? And I came up with this idea about how to make some that I think you guys are going to love. So let's get into it.
So for this DIY you'll need an old sweater and the magic ingredient, I guess, a hair donut. They're super cheap and easy to find. So take your hair donut and make sure that it fits the size of the sleeve of your sweater, and then cut the sleeves off. Then open the sleeve up and slide the donut in. Make sure it goes as far down into the sleeve as possible. Then take your excess fabric and poke it through the hole and keep wrapping it a few times until your donut is nice and covered and it looks good on both sides. Then you want to take some string of your choice. I'm just using this parcel string, but you can use embroidery thread or whatever, and then just start wrapping this through the donut and then tie it really tight in a double knot. Cut the excess and then move the knot into the middle of the donut. Tie it as tight as possible. I did go over these ones a couple of times afterwards to make sure that they were tighter, to make those segments really stand out. And this is what it looks like when it's finished. As you can see, there's a big hole in the middle, but to counteract that, you can just put a twig from the garden inside. You could glue this or just stand it upright. And that's it. Super adorable, cute little pumpkins, and they don't take very long to make at all.
Next, for those of you who like more minimal decor pieces, I came up with this, which is a very simple take on an autumn wreath, and I think it's something that you can leave up all year round. So let me show you how I made it.
For this DIY you'll need a large embroidery hoop and some flowers of your choice. So take the embroidery hoop apart and use the inside, and then I'm taking these flowers from Poundland and I'm cutting off the leaves from this rose because they were perfect for this project, and then I'm using this kind of faux baby's breath as well and cutting the stems off that. Then really all you're going to do is glue down your leaves first and get a nice thick coverage of leaves, and you just want to do this for about a third of the wreath. When you're happy with that, you can then go ahead and add in your flowers. I decided to go for white flowers because I'm not really going with that kind of orangey burgundy theme this year. I wanted something a little bit more fresh looking and something that could probably last into spring and summer next year too. When you're done, just go and hang it on a hook on the wall, and this is what it looks like. It's so simple to make, it probably only took 5 minutes.
And what is autumn without scripty fonts? Am I right? This is actually very simple to make, and I have some tips in the upcoming segment about how you can get your hand lettering looking like this without actually being good at hand lettering. So let's get into that.
So for this you'll need a piece of wood, and this is a really gross old piece of wood floorboard that I had lying around, but you can use any kind of wood. But go ahead and sand it and then paint it quite roughly. It's not meant to be perfect. This is going to be quite rustic looking. Don't forget to paint the edges as well, and then when it's dried you can go ahead and sand this. I'm using an electric sander, but you can just use sandpaper, whichever. Next, you'll want to make your phrase. Mine says Hello Autumn, and if you are going to use a pen and pencil to do this and just sketch it, if you want to get that scripty font look, make sure the downstrokes are thicker than the upstrokes, and if you can't sketch it, don't worry, print something out on your computer and then just make sure it fits on the board. Lay them out where you want them to go, and then we're going to transfer this onto the board. Flip your pieces of paper over and using a pencil, colour the entire back of the piece of paper. Then to transfer your image, go really hard with your pencil on top of the lines of the letters. Be firm so that it transfers to the other side, and like I said, you can print something out from the computer if you're not great at hand lettering, and then use the same process and it should transfer to your wood. Next up, using paint or a paint pen, go ahead and colour this in. Now, I started using a paint pen, but it did run out, so I ended up going back in with paint, and I think it was a lot nicer with paint anyway. Gave it that really rustic looking feel. When doing this, just take your time and it's going to look great. Don't worry about it if the edges aren't looking too neat, because you can go in with a Sharpie afterwards to tidy them up. And then when you're done, you should have something that looks a little bit like this that you can go ahead and hang up on your wall or put on a shelf.
And then to make my bedroom feel super cozy, I came up with this sweater cushion cover. It's so soft, and it's also got felt balls along the side. Felt balls are not pom-poms. Very different thing. It's not just another pom-pom pillow, I promise. It's actual felt balls, so very different. 100%. Definitely not pom-poms. Let's get into it.
So for this, you'll need another old sweater. I picked this up for 50p at a car boot sale. Turn it inside out and then go ahead and cut the sleeves off, making sure that they're in line with the sides of the sweater. Then, using a needle and thread, sew down the edges where the sleeves used to be and make sure that they're nice and tight. You just need to do a straight running stitch for this. Nothing fancy, and it doesn't take very long at all. This is what it should look like. Next, go ahead and do the same thing for the bottom of the sweater. Just use a straight stitch and go along the line. Then, when you've done that, turn your sweater inside out and stuff your pillow through the opening at the top. To close this completely, just pull at the edges of the sweater to create a straight line that encompasses the hole where the head normally would go. So then once you've done that, you can just sew this up again, use a straight stitch or just do an overhead stitch. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but I'm just pulling this over, as you can see, and popping my needle through and then just pulling it over again. I'm not very good at explaining this, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Then I'm using the felt balls, and I was going to put them on the front, but I thought that would be kind of uncomfortable to sit on, so I went with down the edges, and I went with a bunch of different colours, and then all I did here was sew them on by hand, which took, I'm not gonna lie, about an hour and a half, 2 hours, but it was worth it. And I did most of this off camera, but when I did this, I did the middle one first and then the two outer ones, and then went and did all the middle ones just so that they were evenly spaced. Then that's it, your cozy sweater pillow is ready to go on your bed or your couch or wherever.
So those are all the DIYs for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Do let me know if you make any of these, I'd love to see them, and please tell me in the comments down below what your favourite thing about autumn is, because I'd love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, let's go.
So hey guys, all you're gonna need today is just some balls, and that's about it. And maybe a little, just a smidge of creativity, maybe.
You know I made that cover out of a sweater, right?
Not really.
Get out! Go!